twink. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That's the song I've taught my African gray parrot at coffee time. Now, is YouTube going to show my live stream today or not? You would think after this many sessions. Up there it is. Yeah. Okay, gotta mute it. Probably no one's gonna watch. And frankly, I couldn't blame you. You'd have to be really into anime, I guess, to find this interesting. I find it interesting, but... So what are we gonna talk about today? Well, let's talk about what we have to do here. Quick recap. What we got going on here? Okay, go ahead and switch this to the camera view. Got to make a slight adjustment to my mouse. Okay, camera view. Recapping what we've got so far. Gone from storyboard, rough pencils to this. So we got Akari. We're going to animate her snoozing. Cuts to a little wider shot. And now these ninja dudes are climbing up the side of the monastery. And whoops! She finds that a little disturbing, but she just rolls over. No big deal. Ninja number 2 is really embarrassed. Ninja number 1 is a little irritated. Come on, let's go. But what they don't realize is that Akari knows what's going on. Okay. And trust me, there's a whole bunch of story behind this that makes this all make sense. Like, well, why is this girl sleeping in a Tibetan monastery? But we're not going to deal with all that. So, what do we need to deal with this morning? We've got, yesterday we kind of dealt with needing to reorganize the work a little bit into layers that made more sense. Let's see here. I guess the takeaway from that being that I should have done it earlier in the process, but no harm done. Basically, at the point when I started inking, I needed to start splitting it off into layers. Because what happens is you get one thing that's moving, like right here, this guy's ponytail's flapping in the wind, so that ponytail needs to be on a separate layer. Now, if you've done any animation at all, you probably are going, yeah, Dave, stupid, of course, duh. So, anyway, so now at this point, we kind of have the same situation. I've got this layer called ninjas, and I really need to change this to ninja number 1. Because, and we need to create another layer and call this ninja number 2. Because once this guy gets to this level, and I mean, you can't see the edge of the building, so let's just pretend that this whole area is actually like a brick wall kind of thing. Once he gets up to here, he just stays there. So why am I going to keep repeating these strokes in every keyframe, which right now they are repeated, while this guy is climbing up the wall? Okay, so what we need to do is actually a couple things. Let's add a ponytail layer as well. Oh, come on, really? Okay, what just happened? It was probably because I hit the N key. Well, that would be T. Okay. T and N are dangerous. when you have a window, is T opens that panel and N opens that panel. I have another 3D view here. This is actually just another 3D view where I opened up this same panel and it's filling up the whole window. And the reason I did that is so that I have the ability here to access all my palette and over here to access my layers, kind of have them side by side. So that's the very, very interesting story behind that. We got any watchers today? It says one's watching, but I'll bet you I still haven't figured out if there's one person watching. Is that me? Because I do have the window open. I don't know. So if you're watching and you're not me, post a comment in the chat or something so I know that it's not just me. Okay, so this would be ponytail. Okay, so once we get to here in the Ninja 1 layer, actually what we're going to do is, this is actually an interesting problem. Let me think about this for half a second. We're going to, this is the way I want to think about this. The question is, do we make the ponytail opaque here in Blender? And I'm thinking we should. So the problem that we have is that we've got his hair and the mask that he's wearing and stuff. That's all covered by the ponytail, but the ponytail is being animated. And normally, when we bring this into Krita, all we're dealing with is lines, and we're going to go ahead and paint everything. I'm thinking in this case, what we want to do is go ahead and not actually make this ponytail transparent. So we'll go ahead and draw these lines in here, and then do the ponytail as a separate layer. That we're going to put the ponytail in a different layer. Let's see, select linked. And okay, so now I got to go like this. Select linked. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab this, go to the ponytail layer, paste it. Says no buffer to paste from. Okay. Okay, my bad. I forgot. This is actually a little bizarre thing about Blender that I forgot. You can't cut and paste. Yes, it's true. You cannot cut and paste grease pencil strokes. You can copy and paste, but you can't cut and paste. I don't know why that strikes me so funny, but so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut. I just hit Control C, so I'm going to copy it, then cut it, and now I'll paste it into the ponytail layer. So now for the moment, let's just turn that layer back off. And why am I still seeing? That's kind of weird. Why am I still seeing the strokes? Okay, that apparently that didn't work. Okay. I am almost sure I had the ponytail layer selected. Let's just do a quick testy poo here. Link. Let's cut these, so we'll hit Control C and Control X, and clearly we can see the ponytail layer here is selected. I'm going to hit Control V. So that's interesting. So it's pasting, even though I have this layer selected, it is pasting back into this layer. Why would that ever be a good idea? And I know what it is. I'm being stupid. You got to hit the M key and move it to the other layer. Okay. I'm stupid. All right. All right. So, sorry about that, folks. Sometimes I'll just have a stupid attack. Now, there's several ways we could do this, but I'm going to do this. As long as we're just having so darn much fun. This is a pretty wide shot, so And actually, what we could do is just turn on the proportional editing tool in connected mode, so it only is going to affect the strokes that are actually selected. So that we'll kind of stretch that together. Yep, like that. And then we'll just kind of shape that a bit. Same thing here. Oh, that's not going to work. There we go. Okay, and that's actually, forget that. I'm going to just delete that stroke. Okay. Now I'm doing it the other way. A little dirty. Question is, do we care? Not much, because this is a, you can see from over here, this is a super wide shot, but I mean, as long as we're here, you know, whatever, let's go ahead and fix it. Okay, so I'm just starting out today, so I gotta sort of warm up my doodle hands anyway, so I need all the practice I can get, right? Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Smooth this. Okay, cool. So now we've got this static shot and the ponytail. Actually, what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and solo this layer. For me, if my mouse is over the 3D view and I hit the star key, it solos the currently affected layer. So now what I'm going to do, that way I can't accidentally like erase something in one of the other layers. Okay, what I'm going to do is actually go like this, and let me think here how I want to do it. I think what I'll do, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just do this in white for the moment, and I'm going to just do this as a single set of strokes. I'm going to just, what I want to do is connect them. Okay, so I'm going to go dot, dot, S, C. Okay, so now I'm gonna actually lock off the sketch layer, so I can go like this, hit Control J, and now I've connected all those. And as you can see, it's actually solid. Okay, and I probably, as long as I'm thinking about it here, I should probably grab that color for its outline so it's consistent with the rest. But okay, so now by unlocking the sketch layer, and we'll lock that, hit Control A, delete all those strokes. So now I've got the ponytail in there, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of smoothing to insert a keyframe, just so that everything prior to this frame right here doesn't have this other layer ponytail in it. I mean, it's fine for it to all be part of the drawing of him up to this point, but once we get to that point, we got to let that ponytail start flapping in the wind. Now, the astute viewer will notice that the ponytail I just drew is not the same length. I mean, the ponytail just shrunk, which I don't know if you realize this, but in the real world, ponytails don't just shrink, you know, from moment to moment. That doesn't normally happen. So that's going to look pretty stupid. So I'm going to definitely want to address that. But at the moment, no big deal. The good news is now, I think what I'll do is, I'm going to try to make this easier on myself. So I'm going to hit the star key again, so we do not have this layer soloed anymore. And now that, and actually let's lock the ponytail layer. In fact, let's turn off the ponytail layer. There's no reason for it to even be there now. Okay, so what that means is, and by the way, okay, this is interesting. Let me think here. Oh, I see. Yes, I already had a duplicate layer that really didn't need to be in there. So what's significant is that as we're going along here, we see this guy crawling up. So what I need to do is take that frame. Let's see, making sure, yeah, nothing changes there. Of course it's black, but what we're going to do now is we're going to grab all these strokes. Or maybe we're not going to grab all those strokes. Let's try that again. We're going to grab all these strokes and delete them. Okay. So don't be freaked out. Hmm. I think I'm going to do myself a little favor here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. Actually, I need to hit this. Okay. I'll just call it sketch. We're kind of doing a little throwback here. And I think what I'm going to do is actually move these strokes into the sketch layer. Alright. I wonder if this is going to backfire. Let's turn this off so I can't see it. Go back here. Okay, cool. Move these strokes in. The only reason I'm doing this literally is so that I can reference the animation that I did of the ponytail. And I'm not saying that that animation was like definitively amazing, but I'm just thinking I don't want to forget what I did. Ninja 2. Alright, and I'm hiding that layer just so that I know for sure that the strokes got moved, basically. Move this to Ninja 2. So if I'd have been planning a little better, I probably would have blocked in these layers earlier in the process, but you know, I mean, what's it matter? You gotta, either way you have to do it. I mean, I guess I would have drawn them in the correct layers as opposed to having to move them later. So now what we want to do is go to this guy's layer, and as you can see, once we hit this spot right here, okay, that's Ninja 1, yes, that's what we want. Okay, so we want to start here, so let's put the cursor there on 295, and then we're at the other shot at 332, so that means that this key, these keys can all be deleted. So he lands there. We'll have the ponytail animated over top of that in a separate layer, and then we can go ahead and go to, and I'm going to turn this off for a second. What I'm curious about is, since I cut and pasted these in, I wonder if, yeah, it worked perfectly. Okay, so we got the Ninja 2 layer. The only caveat being that, and I guess we need to turn this back on so we can see it. So once he lands here, so Ninja 2, yeah, so what we got to do here is just go back one frame, hit DB, so it just creates a blank frame. That way we don't have him hanging out for all eternity past. Okay, so that looks about right. Now I want to mention something else I noticed. Okay, so DB. Okay, one thing I noticed was that the in terms of scale, this is actually another example of where parenting your layers to empties, or in my case, I'm using text objects, so that I can actually read what that is controlling just by looking at it. But the scale is a little off here. Either Akari needs to be a little smaller, or the ninjas need to be perhaps a little bigger. What I think would look better to me would be if she was slightly smaller there in that shot. So why don't we just correct that right now, and let's go to the front view. This down here. Okay, so the Akari layer, thankfully, is all in one layer. So once let's just find our key. Okay, there is our key. So you can see that once I drew that, nothing changes until you get to here. Now actually, strike that. This is kind of interesting. This is another example of what I was talking about, you know, superfluous keys. It's a bit of a pain to be going in and having to clean stuff up all the time, but okay. So now the question becomes, what are these keys doing? She doesn't move that whole time. So until we get here, it appears to me that these keys are all erroneous. Now, that's one thing that's a little funny about Blender, and I'll assume it's me. But you insert a keyframe in one layer, and I haven't looked at this rigorously, but it seems like Blender, because I never notice it until after it's happened. You know, like 10 minutes later, I notice there's a bunch of keys that I don't remember putting in a certain layer. So if I put a key in one layer, it seems to put keys in another layer. And I don't know the exact circumstances that lead that to happen. I don't know if it wouldn't be a cutting and pasting thing. Maybe it's DB. So if I hit DB right now, oh, it only inserted it in that layer. So I don't know. We'll figure that out sometime. But anyway, so that I just cleaned that up quite a bit, which is nice. Let's look at Ninja 1. Okay, so that's good. So what's this? The monastery wall, which means that definitely, again, same thing, all these keys are, as I like to say, superfluous. Yeah, so here you can see what I was talking about. That scale is not right. That's definitely not right. So I'd like to have the comparison with him. So what I'm going to do is hit the star key to solo Akari. I'm going to select all of her strokes, and you know what, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and erase this stuff. Let's clean it up a little bit. Okay, is that alright? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get the scale correct, and the point I'm thinking what I want to do is hit the period key. I'm gonna think about this for a minute. I'm actually going to shrink it down even more. Let's go way down. Let's pretend she's way back there. What actually feels right is something like that. So if we're going to do that, then we got to go delete that keyframe and move this one back here. So let's go to the camera view. Yeah, actually that feels pretty good. Now, believe it or not, what my sense is that probably these guys are actually too big too. It's like I want it to be a little wider shot, but fortunately we can address that later if we want to by taking these guys and just parenting them to an object like I did Akari, and just adjust their size a little bit. So no big deal. So let's unsolo Akari's layer. And what we want to do now is we need to get the drawings and whatnot fixed up for Ninja number 2. So we also want to say that once Ninja number 2 gets to here, then again, these are superfluous keyframes. Good. So that means it's doodle time. Now, I want to reference this guy's costume. Wait, let's go back here. Oh yeah. I'm just looking at what's going to be the best frame of reference for me. Since we're doing the back view, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but doesn't it make more sense to steal this? Alright. Control C. Whoops, I went Shift C. My bad, my bad. Control C. Shift D for duplicate. And then move those points to Ninja 2. Now I'm going to hide the layer from Ninja 1, which means this appeared here. Okay, so now I've got this key, and what I want to do is I'm actually going to move this back here, which obviously makes no sense. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to delete that keyframe and replace it with this. Okay, and now let's solo that layer, and having sorry, it really would be a good habit to learn to finish my sentences, but okay, I just wanted to get the positioning for this guy. Okay, bad, Dave, bad. Actually, that's the funny thing about it is that looks pretty darn good. So this obviously would be like that. Okay, and actually it looks like we've got those. Okay, that's problematic. This is another thing I would say you want to be careful of. When you're doing what I'm doing, where you're making edits and you're moving things around, every once in a while, I mean frequently actually, you want to stop, make sure something erroneous has not happened, because I actually think I have a major problem here. The problem being that it looks to me like those points got doubled, and maybe let me check this. Maybe this is nope. Okay, so you saw what happened. Let's just stop here and review. What happened was I duplicated the points. You saw me move them. I moved the points into the other layer. And yet the points, and of course this is my fault. I did this. You know, this wasn't some sort of supernatural event. But I duplicated the points and then conscientiously moved them to another layer, and then I actually took those points, dragged them to another location, resized them. They are not that duplicated set of points is gone. But yet, I jump back here to this keyframe where I copied them from, and boom, guess what? They're still there. So now we have, so this is pretty badly screwed up. I'm actually really lucky that this keyframe, actually nothing changed from this keyframe to that keyframe. So I don't know quite what I'm missing here, but I'm pretty sure if I grab a point on here, and we need to not solo that layer, by the way, because this is in the original Ninja. Okay, I think I see what's going on. They're still selected, so if I hit the G key, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna just delete those strokes. But so that, no harm done, but it's just a good thing to remember is really check as you go that you don't have wacky things going on that you didn't quite expect. Okay, so what is bugging me a little bit here is it seems to me, let's go to the Ninja 1. Yeah, it seems to me that we have an extra keyframe. And I have to say that by all rights, these keyframes have to be erroneous too, because those are keys for the monastery wall and Akari. I don't want my work space getting cluttered up with keys that don't do anything. I mean, that's just not, that ain't how I roll, baby. Okay, so we don't need those strokes, but these strokes would actually be quite handy. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these guys. And right now I'm not using my tablet per se, I'm using my mouse. So I'm going to duplicate these again, and I'm going to move them over here. Okay, but now I'm going to move those to the Ninja 2 layer. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. So now what we have is he's got this pose, and then we got this. So this is what we're going to replace. I'll delete that, go here, and drag this guy back here. Okay, so now let's go there and turn on onion skins so we can see what we're doing. And why can we not see the prior frame with our onion skins? Do we need to specifically turn on onion skinning for that layer? Apparently we do. Okay, so there's, yes, right, because I removed the frame. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to line that up with his hand and just click there. So that becomes the, if I hit the period key, I believe, yes, then it's going to go ahead and scale around that. And it looks like right about there. Scale that up. Okay, and I think that's going to do it. That looks good. So now let's turn Ninja 1 back on. Okay. Now the question is, do we have this pose? If we don't, we have a way we can cheat it by stealing some work from our other ninjas. Yeah, so we really don't have that pose. But we can fake it. We can definitely fake it. Let's do this. Let's move these guys. Oops, sorry. Let's grab these strokes and Control M. Okay, so I just moved those to this red. And the reason I did that is so that I can lock that layer in, or that color, and that'll just become a guide for me because I just need to know where to put the hands. Okay, so now going back here, what can we steal? And let's turn onion skinning on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab, we can't do that. Let's hit the star key so that we're only in the Ninja 2 layer. Okay, and so for this, we're going to go ahead and, oh come on, Control Z. Let's do that again. Control C, Control V. Okay, like I said, it's kind of bizarre that you can pay or you can copy, but you can't cut, which I find kind of weird, but whatever, dudes. Okay, so now we're going to put our point of rotation here and rotate that like so. Fudge it just a little bit. Actually, no, we won't fudge it. What we'll do is we'll rotate this. We'll get his position here about where we want it. And now let's kind of do it this way, and we'll clean it up afterwards a bit. So forgive me for being so amazingly lazy. But, you know, once you have a drawing the way you want it, why do you want to, you know, okay. So what's clear is that the legs need to be let me check this. So he pulls himself up there. Honestly, we need another keyframe. I'm quite sure how I managed that. So I'm going to take this key and move it up to okay, so are we on 2s here? Let me double check this. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, so I want that on 4s, and I may speed that up to 2s, but okay. But the reason being, I want a I want a key right here. And what I want that key to do is just get the stretch up to here. So it's kind of fortunate that we really can't see the rest of his body, so we're kind of going to get away with murder here, but that's fine. Alright, so let's erase this. And actually, I'm going to turn the onion skins back off just so I'm not getting distracted by it. So, no, this is cool. We've actually saved a good bit of time here by leveraging our earlier work. Okay, so we don't want to be using the red color for this. Okay, that doesn't really quite feel right. That's better. Okay. Now he goes here, and the next pose he's quite a lot higher. So, like I said, now the reason for that, actually, there is a reason for it, and the reason is I wanted to get his head positioned correctly, and then given that his feet are going to be down below, I'm not going to necessarily commit to cutting these out of here, but for the moment I am going to move them out of the way, just because I may want to use part of that later, and there's no harm in it being there. The camera doesn't see it, so I'm just going to sort of fudge this a little bit. So now what I want to do is grab this and put that position right there, and let me just make sure I got that right. Okay, it's like it moved a little bit, so that's okay. Okay, and then this is going up to there. Okay, so now let's fix it. So this is where Blender pretty much kicks. This is where Blender really is pretty awesome. Okay, what actually would be happening here is a bit of foreshortening, because we really need to be Otherwise, his arm would never stretch that much. It's actually a little bit exaggerated right there as it is. So I'm going to say we want to do something like that. Ooh, I don't like that. Okay. And then over here, we'll turn the red layer back off. And then I think that's going to be fine. Okay, didn't mean to be in that layer. Let's go back to the ink. Okay, bad coincidence. Don't like the fact that his... Actually, you know what? While I'm here and I'm thinking about it, I'm going to grab all this. Select linked. What I was going to say, what's great about Blender is the way you can cut and paste strokes and drag them around and sort of treat the your drawings like vectors, you know, as opposed to like a bitmap drawing. That ability to manipulate stuff is really super cool. Have we got any watchers? No comments, no watchers. As far as I can tell, nothing going on, so that's fine. I'm not the most interesting guy on YouTube. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I am. I guess I am the most interesting guy on YouTube. But okay, so now somebody's knocking at the door, so I gotta stop the stream for now. I'll come back later.